Welcome back to a market update, guys. In today's video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Gold. A lot has happened again, volatile week, so let's get into the video. As always, I really appreciate if you like and hit that subscribe button. We're not almost, but we're going to the 100 subscribers, so I would really appreciate an extra follower. So let's get started with Bitcoin as always. Let me remove everything here for a second. Bitcoin has dumped a lot this week. Let's see, last Sunday we were here at the 77,000, so around $80,000. We just saw this dump on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the weekend. And Bitcoin has dumped another 20%, making a low of under the $60,000, which is a big dump because if you look at the weekly, we were around all-time highs around late September, early October. So in around, what's that, 6 months, we're down 50%. I'd say on Bitcoin that's nothing too crazy. Of course, there are headlines, everything is going on. I didn't expect this, it's big news. But half a year, 50% on Bitcoin, I would say it's not that bad as you actually think. Because you can read all the headlines, get panic attacks, think this, I have to sell, I have to buy. But at the end of the day, it's just an asset, it's not going to zero. Price is just pricing. And when we made the other direction, when we went up 100% in, of course, okay, that's almost a year. But then no one was saying, oh, this is not normal, you should panic, you should sell, you should buy. So it's always when things are going into the other direction, when things are dumping, that people start panicking. So am I saying you should panic? No. Am I saying I should just keep buying? Am I saying we're going back to all-time highs next week? No. It's a bit in between. Now, why there is so much news, headlines, even big media outlets talking about crypto, Bitcoin, just prices of the entire financial market swinging, dumping, is because we didn't just see price grinding down like this. We saw a sharp dump this week. Dump of as I mentioned, 20%, which is pretty huge, even more if you have it from the top. It's a huge jump, I know, but Bitcoin picked up liquidity. And as mentioned before, I don't believe in a bull bear market anymore, but you could say that we're in a bear market, or that price has made the all-time high, made a new high, and that we're going down again, because that's what a healthy market does. Now, if I look at all the levels, we can remove this one. Of course, let's skip the levels above for a second. On the daily, we sweep the level here. I think it was this one. And we still have a major support level out here. Also posted a market update on Bitcoin and just the whole crypto market in the server this week. So if you can't wait for the Sunday updates and you want more regular updates, surely join. The link is in the description. We have the 58.9k, which we almost sweep, but it's still there, so very important support level. And then maybe the most important one, the 52,500. I know we're at 70k right now, so we're not going to be there in a day or two. I don't think, even if we start dumping again next week, that we will be there, but anything is possible. It's almost 30% dump from the point we're at, but if price continues to dump, if the trend stays like this, we can be somewhere here at the end of the week. So would I be surprised? No. Do I expect it to happen? No. But in the crypto market, you can't be everything can happen. Sorry for my language. So as mentioned, why is this level so important? I'd say this level is important to indicate if this is an important level, price could bounce off and start making new highs again, or just range for a bit. But this level, if we lose the 52,500, we can surely say that the dump is going to be even more nasty, and then we maybe can start worrying, because if you look to the weekly, if we lose this level, I don't know why this line is there. If you lose this level, we can easily dump another 30% from there, because in this range here, there is not much structure or things to do. Price really pumped here, and when price comes back, we also expect price to dump, because that's what we saw here. Price pumped, price dumped, because there are not many levels, there's not much liquidity zones, support zones, and that's what almost always happens. So there's not much liquidity, just support levels there, so I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this level. So that's why it's very important we go back to the $40,000, and $40,000 should be the bottom. If we go back to 40,000, I really don't believe we're going beneath the $40,000. Why? The reason is governments invested in Bitcoin, big institutions invested in Bitcoin, BlackRock, all those other institutions have Bitcoin. They're not going to let Bitcoin go to 10k, 20k again, because they would all be in a loss, and it's just a massive risk. Now, they could surely dump price even more, surely if they sold before. I'm not really into the fundamentals and with the news, but they can surely dump price even more. Surely if they sold to dump price. Market makers, institutions, whatever, governments wouldn't really do that, but same thing. Dump price, let price dump, don't save it, don't try to buy so price stabilizes, dump it to lowers, and then just buy cheaper. And that's what basically happens every bear market. Big institutions, big players, smart money, they sell at the top and they just don't do anything or even sell, so price drops. And then they can buy in for cheap again for the next bull run or uptrend. And that's the thing that happens on almost all assets, even with gold, even with stocks, and surely on the crypto market. So am I saying, I don't know what I'm saying. So I really think 40k is the ultimate bottom. Am I saying we're going to 40k? No, but if price continues to dump, I really don't see us going back to the 25k, though it is possible. But I think my argument, which I mentioned a couple seconds before, is pretty strong and pretty accurate in my opinion. So for now, Bitcoin, I'd say we're safe because price, as you saw, made a huge wake of 10%, 15%. If you zoom in on the 1 hourly, we're creating some structure. So we have this level. I'm surely going to look in for longs on this level. If price starts dumping again, we can look for longs here to new highs. This box is very important, around the $77,000-$79,000 main resistance for the moment. And I say if we can gain that, you can surely expect price to make new highs. But something very important to keep in mind is gaining the $80,000, let's call it 80,000, doesn't mean we're back in the game, doesn't mean the bull run is back, doesn't mean we're going back to all-time highs. This can all just be a retest to make new lows, because if you look to the daily, and let me close all the levels again, we also saw some type of pullback here to the upside, 20% pump from the bottom here. People may have said here, oh, we're back, uptrend, we gained some levels here, we gained this, we're going back. But this was also just a minor retest to make new lows. So I would say on the weekly, you can clearly see that this is an important level, the move to the low, the $97,000. And of course also this, but that's very far away. So for now, I would say even if we gain the $80,000, even if we go back to $88,000, as long as price doesn't gain the $97,000 and especially the 90k as well, we're not going to make new highs. It's just a retest to bounce lower. So long story short on Bitcoin, have we seen the bottom? Maybe. I can't say that. I'm also not in the game. I'm also not, my strategy doesn't allow me to say, oh, this is the bottom, this is the top. But price has dumped significantly, and we may have seen the bottom, but again, price can dump even further. I mentioned my support levels, my resistance levels. Not really trading opportunities in this video, but I think I mentioned what you have to look for to understand if price can make new highs, make new lows, and more into if you want to start investing again. I also mentioned, I think in last week's market update or in the market update I shared in the Discord, I don't remember, if you want to start buying spot Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever, to invest and to make new highs, I would still wait for a bit, because you don't know if this will be the bottom, and I really don't think 70k will be the bottom for the entire bull market. I surely think even if we start gaining, we go back to around 100k, we can surely make new lows next year or later this year to around 50k, and then it's a time to buy. And as mentioned as well in several videos in the PA course or the trading course, if you want to invest, you're risking more capital, so you want to be safe. You don't have to catch the exact bottom, you want to see confirmation. So imagine this is the bottom, price starts doing this, you want to buy here, because here you have confirmation that price is gaining again. This is just a retest to pick up liquidity, and price will make new highs. Instead of buying here, because then you could have also said, oh, this will be the bottom, I buy, and you just go wrecked and you're down 20%. If you trade a leverage or trade spot with leverage, you would have maybe been liquidated. But that's it for Bitcoin. Ethereum, basically same thing, they made a new low, and Ethereum is not looking well, because on Bitcoin, of course, as we all know, we saw a significant gain from last all-time high. Bitcoin was around 70,000, now 125,000. Now on Ethereum, they made a new all-time high, but it was, what, 2% more, 1% more? And they're back into the bull run levels, because if you would have looked this level on Bitcoin, Bitcoin would be somewhere here, I'd say, or even here, around $40,000. So Ethereum is in a worse spot than Bitcoin, but at the end, same thing. Ethereum also has an ETF. I don't really know, because I don't follow the news, if governments have Ethereum. BlackRock surely has, and other big institutions. So maybe it's a bit more risky, and Ethereum can make a new low faster than Bitcoin, but I don't expect Ethereum to break this or go back to the hold here. I mean, this is a very important box, but if we lose this box, it might be over for Ethereum, and think, oh, what's this guy waffling? But Ethereum is of course a big coin, the second biggest coin after Bitcoin, but if we lose this, then it will be very hard to regain, because people have lost faith. Big institutions probably sold. People don't want to invest because the chart looks bad, but we're not there yet. But more 20% dump and we're there, and you know everything can happen in crypto. But I'm waffling a lot this video. For Ethereum it's basically the same thing. We made a new low. Is this the bottom? I don't know, but we have some important levels to gain. The daily move to the low, and this will probably be the weekly. So surely the 3000, if you want to see Bitcoin Ethereum in an uptrend again, we have to gain the 3000, and I know that's a very big push, but it will be needed if you want to make new highs. Last but not least, gold. Gold, let's see where we were last weekend. We were here, we made a pullback. I didn't even mention if I mentioned the entire pullback in the video, probably because the market is close in the weekend, of course, all of my waffling. So we made a very sharp dump of 20% since all-time highs. People were panicking, but this was completely normal, of course. Look at what we were doing. We were in a crazy generational uptrend, so pullback was we couldn't avoid the pullback. I also mentioned that in several weeks, of course, a month ago already, and then price started pumping again. So you might say, oh, this dumbass is saying we're going to dump, but we made another 20-30% pump, but this was going to happen anyways. Now gold recovered pretty okay. They showed some strength, 10% pump, picked up liquidity here, sweep this, and it's now back in an uptrend. I expect price to range a bit, but surely gain this high and then range here. And then of course, if there's buying pressure, we can surely go back to all-time highs, though it's another 20% pump, 12-15% pump, not 20%. But I'd say gold is looking pretty well, even though we might be scared, like we made a new low, and of course price came back with hold, but gold is looking very good for now. So also gold, not in the same situation as Bitcoin and Ethereum in terms of where price is, but in terms of the entire market sentiment, I think they're in the same spot right now. As I always mentioned, if Bitcoin pumps, Ethereum and all crypto will pump. Well, if gold pumps, it doesn't necessarily mean crypto will pump, and vice versa. If gold dumps, doesn't really mean crypto will also dump, though it's the case most of the times. But they're in a bit of the same situation right now. I don't expect gold to pump to new highs and Bitcoin to dump, or vice versa. I expect both to move, because the entire market is a bit in the same spot. All sectors, stocks, crypto, forex, and then I mean gold and silver, for example, they all saw a sharp pullback last week. Even stocks, some recovered already though, so they're in that sense in the same spot. For now on, thank you guys for watching. It was a long video with a lot of yappings, but I hope I guided you through the market in this video. If not, please let me know. If there's advice or any feedback, would always be nice. Surely let me know in the comments, or join the Discord where I'm active 24/7. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next market update. Bye.